screenshot this. Yeah, the second one is asking some information technology related risk. Label A to D are given below, losing user files, and they have some things. Identify stable solutions for above risks from the label list, which is from P to U given below. Write down the risk label and the matching solution label. Yeah. So it is asking losing user files and folder due to hard disk failure. Yeah, so that is the risk and how we are going to mitigate or like avoid uh, from that risk, which is given by the, we have to choose by the following things. So getting regular backups, installing CCTV, installing firewall, use of surge protectors, use of UPS, use of antivirus software are there. So losing user files and folders due to a hard disk failure. So it is much better we go with P, getting regular backups. So A, it's going to be P. And computer behaving abnormally after the use of flash drive. Yeah, computer behaving abnormally after use of flash drive. Uh, yeah, just a second, people. As usual, I'm getting calls from the school. Yeah, people, sorry, I was muting my mic just to answer a call from a school. Right. So, yeah, can you hear me clearly, people? Just confirm. Right, great. So for the part B, computer behaving abnormally after the use of flash drive. So this can be due to a virus or something, right? Because computer behaving abnormally after the use of flash drive. So like once the flash drive is being connected, that can be what we call like some malware can be affected from that flash drive and cause the computer to behave on that manner. So it's going to be installing use of antivirus software. It's going to be the suitable answer, which is the U. So data in a computer connected to internet. Data in a computer connected to internet access remotely without authorization. Yeah. So like this is accessing a computer and accessing its data in remote manner. So remote manner means it should be networked. So if someone is trying to get into our computer through the network, it is the firewall that is going to protect us, right? So that's the purpose of the firewall. If a network is there, so we can configure the firewall, or we can say to the firewall in simple terms, let these people in and do not let any others to get in. So it is the firewall which gives the basic security, or no, actually not the basic, it's giving the security regarding the accessing of a firewall, accessing of unauthorized people. Right, so it's going to be installing firewalls, right? So this is going to be R. Frequent power supply interruption to a personal computer. Frequent power supply interruption to a personal computer. So it's easy. The power interruption can be avoided using a uninterrupted power supply, which is a UPS. So we are going to use a use of UPS, which is T. Right. So it's for A, B, C, D. It's going to be PURT. Let's cross check it with the marking scheme as well. Yeah, it's PURNT. So that's the way we had, right? PURNT, yes. So P for A, U for B, and R for C, and T for D. So it gives you 1 mark if you got all correct. All correct means like 1 mark for 3 and 4 correct. That means like if you got 3 or 4 correct, it's 1 mark, and if you got less than that, they won't allow you the marks, right? So be careful, people. Right. So in the second one, the 3R, reduce, reuse, and recycle technique is well accepted for waste reduction. Explain this technique with respect to the reducing e-waste. So like reduce means what? It is reducing the the things, the electronics that we are going to use. So like without buying new things, we are going to if device can be used further, we are going to use it as much as we can. So we are reducing the usage of electronics or electrical things, which will eventually lead to the less amount of e-waste, right? And reuse is like we are selling or we are just giving away some device that we have used to some other person to get consumed by that particular person, right? So in that scenario, that person is not buying a new device. That means uh, the use of new devices will get reduced. So the manufacturing of devices will get reduced. So according to that, wasting of that new device will get reduced. So with the reuse, e-waste will be reduced or can be managed. And recycling means when we cannot use the electronic device anymore, like we can't repair that, or we can't use it by any means. So then we are going to hand it over to a factory or a workshop which is recycling the e-waste, which they will recycle it and hand it over to the manufacturers as the raw materials for their new production. So again, e-waste can be mitigated or can be reduced, right? So those are the points that you need to talk, right? So in market scheme, they have explained about these things. Now the reduce unnecessary purchase, use, accumulation of electronic devices, and reuse. It's reuse, sell, donate, repair all electronic devices without discarding, and recycle the components in irreparable මට වචනය අලුත් electronic, oh sorry, not irreparable, irreparable, yes, sorry, it's irreparable electronic devices. So that is the concept that we can talk, right? So uh, you should have this kind of an idea in your answer, right? So you can take 2 marks for that, right? Okay, so moving to the third part. So third question asks, right answer for the following. Write one way in which a person can protect a spreadsheet on his computer from unauthorized access. Right, one way in which a person can protect a spreadsheet on his computer from unauthorized access. Assume that the computer is not connected to the internet. Yeah. So he or she can use a password to a particular spreadsheet software, or can have a username or password to the entire system, right? So that is the way that we can use it, or else we can say that particular file can be given a higher level of access privilege. So it will get secured, right? Let's go with the marking scheme regarding these things. So for that, install in open source spreadsheet, LibreOffice Calc, OpenOffice Calc software, use free cloud. Hold on. I'm reading the incorrect. Yeah. So for A, using a password for the computer or the account or to the spreadsheet, right? So A is getting 1. And for B, they are saying a person cannot afford to buy licensed spreadsheet software for his computer, right? One thing that he could do, yeah. So he can install an open source spreadsheet, right? Which where you do not need to pay and take, or there is no any license issues. We can simply download it and use it. Or else you can use a cloud-based spreadsheet like Google Sheets, right? So we can solve that out with those manners. So for any of the followings, you are going to take 1 mark, and if you have any alternative answers, just let me know, right? And for the C part, they are asking write down one benefit that the student can obtain through this LMS. Yes, you can have many benefits. Danidu, yes. Cloud-based means anything we do online without downloading. It's like this, Danidu, like we can't use the term downloading because if you take Google Drive, the cloud-based facility, it allows you to work offline and upload later, right? And even yeah, installing, yes, I can agree with you, installing, right? But downloading is not the term, because if you take the Google products, they allow us to work offline, right? Internet connection එක නැති වුණා අපිට device ඒක විතර කරන්නේ device එකට යාව automatically download කිරීමක් තමයි. When the connection is there, they get in upload the things, but we are still at the in the cloud, but it allows us to work offline, right? Okay, so through LMS you can have many different facilities, right? So you can go on one of these, obtaining study notes, getting feedbacks, online assignments, participating in online quizzes, right? Just think about what we are doing online, right? Yes, Dandu. OneDrive is a cloud storage where it is supported with the Office 365, which is the cloud-based softwares of the Microsoft. Right, so any one of the answers from this particular list, and if you got any alternatives, let me know, right? So you can have 1 mark regarding the LMS benefits, right? And they have specifically asked what are the benefits for the students, right? Okay, so moving to the D part, it says a student wants to include in his essay a part of a content of a website without intellectual property violation. How can he do it? Yeah, that is a very ethical thing to do. So we can show it is being quoted from somewhere else, right? So we can use double quotes and show that this particular content are being taken from somewhere else, and we can state his name or the website's name where we have copy those data. So those kind of solutions can be done. So like citing or mentioning the rightful owner and his or her information, and quoting and giving the details of the owner, right? Referring or listening. Yeah, people, sorry, I have to answer this. I'm sorry because of getting the disturbance. Just go through and mark it. You can have any one of these answers. Right. So with D, you can go any one of these things, right? So again, if you got any alternative answers, let me know. And for E, a manager in a Colombo office wants to have a video conference with managers in Jaffna. Yeah, yes, Danidu, what you are doing is correct. Like Danidu is asking, is it legal if I use a particular song in a video without asking artist and mentioning the song name and artist name and the credit? Yes. So that is what we are doing, like mentioning or using the intellectual property uh, in a non-violated manner, right? So we say this is the original thing and this belongs to him. So I'm just doing it up, right? That's all. That is correct way. Right, and in part E, it says a manager in a Colombo office wants to have video conference with the manager in Jaffna and Mathura branches without everybody coming to a single location. Write down a requirement needed in these locations. Yeah, so that means you need a video conference tool, right? So to do a video conference, right, you need a multimedia or a monitor or a computer, right? So and the communication software should be there, like the Zoom or some video editing, I'm sorry, some video conferencing software. And specifically, you need internet. Without internet, you won't be having the video conference. Like then the people won't be have the chance to get connected with everyone else in a remote manner, right? So those are the things that you need to talk about. So you can write it uh, in these three different ways. So like multimedia computer or kind of a thing, like computer with audio and video webcam and a communication software and internet, or video conferencing kit and the internet, right? So which gives you 2 marks for that, right? Yeah, they have specifically given you 2 marks. So that, yeah, in the fourth part, yeah, it is asking, yeah, an office wants to create a computer network using a hub, 3 computers, named server computer, I'm sorry, named server computer A and computer B, and the printer using a star topology, draw a topology diagram. So, which is very easy. Like you have to draw the diagram, right, in this particular way. Like you should have the hub or a switch as the central device. So those are the devices that you can use, right? So if you use a hub, you can use a hub in here. If you're using switch, you can use a switch here. So they said using name boxes for the devices. So you should use boxes or like rectangles or squares, right? So you can say server here, and you can say computer A, and you can say computer B, and they said they have a printer, so you can connect a printer, right? So this is how we are going to draw that particular diagram, which is very easy, right? So in the marking scheme, they have given 1 mark for that, right? So that is how we are going to finish the fourth part. Hello, good morning. How are you doing? Right. So people, any question regarding that? I think that's the end of the second question. Is it? Yeah. So did you got that? That's not yours, baby. Is it clear, people? Confirm? No. This noise is it's not yours. Yeah, it's not yours. Right. Okay. Who has done the third question? Okay. So we are going to go. Right. So here they have introduced you 3 tables regarding the database, which is the player table, which is the player team table, and the team table. Right. So they are asking, write down the primary key of a team table, write down the possible primary keys available in the player table. So if you take the team table, you can see there is team ID, team name, age group, captain IDs, right? And you can see the captain ID is repeating in this scenario, and age group is repeating right over here as well as here, and team name are repeating like this. So we know to create or to choose as a primary key, it should have unique values, right? So the only line or only column which is given us the unique values is this, right? So it's the team ID that is for the team, right? So when it comes to the third, the player table, right? They are asking the second part, you have to read it very carefully, write down the possible primary keys. So that means they are asking the suggestions, like more than one suggestion they are asking, right? Here they have asked for primary key. This is primary keys available in the player table, right? Possible primary keys, right? So if you think about the, if you look at the player table, it has 4 columns. And if you take player ID, it's we can't find any repetition inside the player ID. So player ID can be taken as a primary key. So if you think about the first name is repeating, and we are not, generally we are not choosing a name as a primary key if we don't have any more alternatives, right? And the last name, of course, last name is not what we call repeating, but we know as a practice, we are not going to choose a name as a primary key. And if you look at the student ID, again, the student ID is not repeating. So the best answers are going to be player ID and student ID, right? So those are the things that marking scheme explains. And again, people, it says exact spelling important. දැන් හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න ඔයගලන්ගේ ස්පෙලිං බලන එක තැනක් තමයි මේක, right? Because they have given it in a, the answers are given to you, tables ටික display කරලා තියෙනවා, so you have to be very conscious to have the same or the exact value into your answers, right? ඒගොල්ලෝ දීලා තියෙන දෙයක් නම් ඒක ඒ විදිහටම ලියන්න with capitals and symbols, right? Don't lose your mark, right? So it's team ID, T capital, EAM is simple, I capital, D capital, right? For the player, the possible primary keys are going to be player ID and student ID. So you got 1 mark for the part A and 1 mark for the part B. And in second part, it says which table needs to be updated to add new student of the school to under 17 cricket team, right? So like, I think question has more things. Second one. Yeah, so like the first scenario is a new student, PL Alvis, a new student, right? PL Alvis, student ID is this, is admitted to the school and joins under 17 cricket team 2019. So if he is going to be a new student, he is not having his detail inside this player table, because in player table, they are talking about existing players, right? So it says PL Alvis, the student ID is this, is admitted to the school and joins the under 17 cricket team in 2019. So that means there is an updation regarding a team, right? Or like we have to add the details regarding a team and regarding a player, right? So like update the details not regarding the team, a player in a team, and regarding a player, because team is there already, under 17 cricket team is there, right? As you can see, this is the under 17 cricket team, so that detail is there in this table. So table team won't get in any new details to it. But when it comes to the player, you should have the player ID and his first name and his last name and the student ID, right? So later in this question, they are saying the player ID, PLLV's player ID is going to take as take like this, P1120. So I'm going to use that particular data to illustrate here, right? It's P1120. So PL always, and the student ID is S4205. So it is S4205. That kind of a record should be added. And as well as he is on the under 17 team, he's a new student. So player team table, because player team table contains what? Contains the players of each team and their years of joining, right? So then it's going to be a new record which says T2 P1120, and he is joining in 2019, right? So that means two table needs to be updated, right? So in this question, in second part, they are just asking what are the tables need to get updated. So for this one, it's the player table and player underscore team. Again, they will search for the spelling mistakes or the correct for the correct spellings, right? And the B part says Nimal Fernando is appointed the captain of the under 19 volleyball team. Now Nimal Fernando, he is there in the team. He's there in the table. Nimal Fernando, he's over here. So he has appointed as the captain of under 19 volleyball team. Under 19 volleyball team. Now, under 19 volleyball team, the record is right over here. And it has the captain ID of P1002. So P1002 means who? It is this particular student, Raj Selvam. But now we are going to have a new captain who is Nimal Fernando. So regarding this P1002, this should replace by P1006. So that means team table should be updated by P1006, and it won't do any change to player teams, neither to the player table. So for the second part, it is just the team. People, is it clear? Yes, Heshani. Right, okay. Right. Okay, moving to the third part. Write down new records to be added to the relevant table for the changed mentioned in part 2A. Oh, part 2A ke change ka pi liyala pennuwa. Those are the things in green color, right over here and right over here. These are going to be the answers for the part 3A, and it is asking us to write like table name and within brackets field 1, field 2, field 3. So I'll show you the marking scheme, how they have answer to this particular question. So for B, they have said team and the player and the player team tables to be updated, and this is the way they have write it. See, player arrow P1 P1120 PL always S4205, which is separated by the commas, and player team arrow T2 comma P1120 2019. So that is the way that you are going to write. Now, since they have given you a structure, you have to follow that, right? So be careful. There are new things in the 2019 paper, right? That is why I have kept this until the last point, right? So this week, just take it and go through it again. What are the new things that they have done, right? So 2 marks is given to part A. And regarding the part B, they are asking record entries needed for the creation of under 17 football team with Shane Almeida as captain, right? So Shane Almeida is there in the table. Neither. This is Shane Almeida, right? So they are asking you to create a new team. What is a new team? Under 19 football team, right? Yeah, so under 19 football team means under 17 football teams. Under 17 football team means its team ID is T7. It's definitely going to affect the team table. So you have to take T7. This is football and it is under 19, and captain ID is going to be Shane Almeida's captain ID, right? Which is P1005. Yeah, Leandro, I'll show you. Right? So, and again, since we are creating a new team with a new captain, what about the team player? Team player table should also be updated, neither, because we got a new table, a new player and a team. So T7 should be here, and player, it's going to be Shane Almeida's values P1105, and they are doing this in 2019, in 2019 this is, right? So this is going to be 2019. So 2 tables should be updated. Since a new team is created, team table should have a new record. And since we are assigning a captain, which is going to be a player again, we have to update the player team table as well, right? So your answers are going on this. So Leandra, B part, second question B part is give you 1 mark, and third question A part will give you 2 marks, and third question B part, which we just discussed, these are the way it going to happen. Team, it's T7 football under 17 P11001005, which is Shane's player ID, and player team, as I told you, T7 P1005 219, and it gives you 2 marks, right? So if one is correct, so it says 1 mark per each. So if one is correct, just 1 mark will be given. And be very careful about the spellings and the way you are going to write, right? Be very careful, right? Okay, so the fourth one, which tables are to be joined to write a query to find the name of under 19 cricket captain? Now, you may remember how we wrote the queries. We were like doing, when we are doing the access, we just choose the fields from the tables to create a query. Query means, yeah, we are requesting something from the database, and they are presenting it as a table. That is what you call a query, right? So when we are requesting things from a database, we can request the things from by just one table or from more than one table. So when we are trying to request things from more than one table, it creates a join, right? So this is very easy. You don't need to like worry about the technical terms. Now just think about what are the tables that you are going to refer if you ask to create this join manually. නේද? ඔයාට මේක කරන්න කිව්වොත් අර උඩ තියෙන tables තුන දීලා ඔයාට මොනවාද ඕන කරන tables. So it is asking which table are to be joined to write a query. So what is the request? Find the name of the under 19 cricket captain. So find the name of the under 19 cricket captain, which is going to be a very easy one. So under 19 cricket. So under 19 cricket means the very first line. Danindu, no. You don't need. Right? Table ke nama vidrak liyo. So under 19 cricket. Now here's the under 19 cricket. And the captain ID is what? P1002. So first we refer this to figure out who is the captain of under 19 cricket. It says it's P1002. So then we find who is P1002. Right? So P1002 is Raj Selvam. So that is the way we are going to find the name of the under 19 cricket captain. So for query, SQL does the same, right? So when database creating a query, it refers the table team and the table player, right? So that's going to be your answer. So to create a query, you need the team and the player, right? Okay, that will sum up the second or third question. Is that clear, people? Confirm, please. Right, great. So if you got any questions, you know what's the drill is, right? So you can ask always. Yeah, moving to the fourth one. Yeah, now fourth one is about the HTML question, right? So in HTML question, what they are asking, so it says, consider the following statement with blanks labeled from A to F. Identify the most suitable item to fill each blank from the list given below. Write down the statement, label, and the matching term. Right? So like you are going to say what is for A, what is for B, what is for C, and likewise. Right? So it is saying blank is having first determines the correspondence between domain names and the IP addresses on the internet. Now, when it comes to the domain names and IP address in the internet, there is a one particular server who is resolving or corresponding about these things. We call that the DNS service, domain name system service. DNS stands for domain name systems. So domain name system service, the one who is giving that service or the computer who is giving that domain name system service, we call a DNS server, right? So for this, it's the DNS service. So this is going to be A, right? And in B, part B, it says is used to transfer large files from one computer to another over the internet. So question gives you the answer. Transfer large files from one computer to the other. So this is talking about file transferring. So that is allowed by FTP, file transferring protocol, right? So FTP is going to be the answer for B option. And the C, it says, is one of the most important protocols for email transport between email services. Daddy, now, we need some water. Yeah. So, Daddy, we need some water on the floor. You can ask for mommy. Mommy will direct it for you. Right? Okay. Right. Delicious. Okay, now regarding the email transport, we got two protocols regarding the email. One is the SMTP. Now, SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, right? ICMP is the other, what you call the protocol that stands for the mail kind of things, right? But when it comes to the transportation, transferring from one end to another, it's the SMTP that's going to help you, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. ICMP is talking about the controlling the message, right? So ICMP stands for Internet Control Message Protocol, right? So it's not directly regarding the mails. So it says Internet Control Message Protocol, right? So the correct answer goes with this is C. Now that is little bit over your syllabus, but it is the only place that we can find where the paper has gone over the syllabus, right? SMTP again, but it's not very noticeable, right? And when it comes to the D, it says is the top level domain of the domain name www.nie.lk. Now, www.nie.lk, we know www is the service, is the internet service. And NIE, we call it a domain. And LK, that is the answer for us. It's a top level domain, right? And these two creates domain name, which is nie.lk, right? So the .lk, just lk, right? Don't be caught with nie.lk. It is just lk, which gives you the answer as D, right? And for E, it says could be used to find out web pages whose URLs are not known. So when we do not know the URL, that means we don't know what is the address for a particular web page. So we are going to search it using a search engine. So this is going to be the answer for part E, right? And F, it says blank separates the username and domain name of an email address. Yeah, email address has two things, which is username and the domain name. So if he says abc@gmail.com, abc is going to be the username, gmail.com is going to be the domain name. So it is separated using the at symbol, which are easy stuff, right? This is going to be the F. Yeah, so if I go by the marking scheme, A is DNS service, B is FTP, C is SMTP, D is LK, E is search engine, F is at symbol. So the marks they have given, if 5 to 6 are correct, 3 marks, 3 to 4 are correct, 2 marks, 1 to 2 are correct, only 1 mark. Right, people, is that clear? Can I have the confirmation? Right, okay. So we are moving on to the second part. It says choosing the example given in the list, write down the correct example for each of the label item, right? And it is from A to D. At down, they have given you the answers, right? So a web browser, it's going to be Mozilla Firefox. So this goes with A. Programming language for dynamic web content creation. Yeah, so like programming language, they are asking programming language. Now, we use the CMSs like Joomla to create the web content, but it's a content management system, CMS, not a programming language. So definitely Joomla is not going to be your answer. And Pascal, on the other hand, we are not using to create web pages. We are creating the Pascal, we are choosing the Pascal or using the Pascal to do the standalone creations only, like computers. එක computer එකකට දෙයක් create කරන්න තමයි අපි Pascal පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. Right? Later you can install it anywhere you want, but it's not creating web contents. So for that, it is going to be the PHP, because Composer, we know it is a web authoring tool. So this is going to be the answer for C. And content management system, it's the Joomla, which we know. So B එකේ තමයි struggle කරන්නේ, but from Pascal and PHP, we know it's not the Pascal. So definitely it's going to be the PHP, right? So for A, it's Mozilla Firefox. For B, it is PHP. For C, it is Composer. For D, it is content Joomla. It's Joomla, right? So the marks, they have given 2 marks for that. And 3 to 4 correct, it's 2 mark. 1 to 2 are correct, only 1 mark. That is how the part 2 ends. And when it comes to the part 3, it is talking about the tags. So let's go for the question. And here it goes. The HTML source of the web page shows figure 1 is given in figure 2 with certain missing tags labeled 1 to 10. So yeah, so it is about dengue fever and this particular thing. So unfortunately, we have to go with the code in the other hand, right? So yeah, let me do it like this. I'll take this picture right over here, so it will help me to see what's there. Yeah, I'll make it a little smaller, right, so I can see it properly. Yeah. So the first one is the number 1 is set before the title tag. So the title tag is there inside the head tags. So 1 is going to be the head, right? And 2, the dengue fever, what is it and how to stop it? So it's right over here. So it is a header, we know. So the option that they have given us is H2, right? It is there in the bottom of the page. Hold on, there is H3 as well? No, it's part of the, yeah, it's H2. So H2 is the one which is going to be as the second part. So second is H2, right? And in the third, it was center aligned, and it is talking about an image, right, with a width and a height. So definitely we know 3 is going to be IMG, which is using to insert an image. And 4, it says align center, and it says dengue fever is mosquito-borne viral infection kind of things. So it is there below the picture in a center aligned manner, right? And again, it's kind of a paragraph that we can see, like it's the only way that we can use the paragraph, right? So they have used 3 different paragraphs to indicate these 3 lines, right? So that is why you can find empty lines like top and the bottom. Paragraph tag එක පාවිච්චි කරාම අපි paragraph එකට උඩිනුයි යටිනුයි his page දෙකක් add වෙනවා automatically. right? Something little bit extra. So 4 is going to be P, paragraph, right? Then ගොඩක් කට්ටිය paragraph කියවම ඡේදයක් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්නවනේ. නේද? It's not like that. Even for a word, we can apply a paragraph tag, right? Just for a word. So fourth one is the paragraph. And the fifth one and the sixth, it is besides the dengue fever sign symptoms. So like dengue fever sign symptoms are right over here. So they have start the table from here. Then inside the table, you should have a TR first. So inside the TR couple, you can use either TDs or THs, right? Right, then of course you can close the TR, right? So table has begun, and you can see they got a /th over here, so 6 is going to be a TH, and fifth, of course, it's going to be a TR, because if you are writing a TH, you are going to write it inside a TR, right? And seventh and the eighth. So you can see after the TH, right? So what they are having is as the second line. So like the first row is done with the TR. So this is the first TR, and this is going to be our second TR. So that second TR first cell contains an unordered list, right? Second TR එක second row එක ලොකුයි. ඒකේ first cell එක ඇතුලේ unordered list එකක් තියෙනවා. So 8, it is definitely going to be what? An unordered list, which is going to be UL, right? So because LI is just after, 8 is going to be a UL, unordered list. And 7, of course, it's going to be a table data, because 5 is TR, we know. So after TR, for 7, you should have TD, right? So that is why OL is finishing over here, and then /TD going to come over here, right? And again, another TD is starting, which is indicated by 7, and 9 gives you the other cell, which contains an ordered list. So 9 stands for OL, right? Ordered list. And then at the very end, the 10th one, which indicate this particular link. Why I'm saying it a link, because they have used an anchor tag. So 10 is going to be href, hyperreference. So that is how the things are going to go. So I'll go with the marking scheme. So 1 is head, 2 is H2, 3 is IMG, 4 is P, 5th it's TR, 6th it's TH, 7th it's TD, 8 it is UL, 9 it is OL, 10 it is HF. Right, people, is that clear? Right, great. So moving to the next question, which is the Excel question. So let me take this up. Right. So Excel question is talking about an Excel sheet which is used to do the Z score calculation, right? Where we are facing on the Danindu. Yeah, hold on. I'll tell you how it's going to be. Yeah. It's like this: 5 marks for 9 to 10 correct, 4 marks if 7 to 8 are correct, 3 marks for 5 to 6 are correct, 2 marks for 3 to 4 are correct, and 1 mark, it's 1 to 2 are correct, right? So it's going to be like that. Right. So in the Excel question, they are asking write down the formula that should be entered in cell C43 to calculate the average mark for subject 1 in the form of function 1, cell 1, colon cell 2. Right. So you are going to write it in this form. Right. So they are asking cell 43. Now cell 4, C43, I'm sorry. C43 is right over here. Right? Average marks of the subject, it is penetrate two cells දෙකක් merge කරලා ඒගොල්ලෝ අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. So C3 is this. So for that they are asking the average marks of subject 1. So subject 1 starts from here. So to create the average mark, we need to consider the range. The range goes from here to here. So which starts from C3 and ends from C42. So your function is going to be average equal sign should be there. C3 colon C42. Or you can go in the other way around, C42 colon C3. Right, let's check with the marking scheme. Yeah, it is saying for 1, it's average C3 colon C42. Or the other way, average C42 colon C3. It got 2 marks for the first part. එක column එකක මේ table එකේ එක column එකක තියෙන first part. So in the second column, they are asking the second question. What's happened when this is copied to the other part? If this formula is copied to cell D43 and E43, so that means these two cells, they are going to copy it to these two cells. So write down the formula that will appear in cell D43. So D43 means this particular thing. So there is no any absolute references over here. So it goes with average. Since it is copied from one particular row to the right hand side, it's the letter which is going to change, not the numbers. Right? එකම row එකේ දකුණු පැත්තට යනකොට letter එක change වෙන්නේ. So C becomes D, 3 stays as it is, colon, C become again D, 42 stays as it is. Right? So this is going to be your answer. So in the marking scheme, yeah, they have given equal average D3 colon D42, or the other way, equal average D42 colon D3. Right? So 1 mark for the second part. And in the third part, they are asking formula for F3 to compute Kamal's Z score for subject 1. So like the formula is given like this. Z score is equals to student marks for the subject minus average mark for the subject divided by SD value. Right? So the formula is given to you. Yeah, no problem. It's better you goes with the capitals or simples. They are not talking about the capitals and simples over here, because you can write a formula from any case. It doesn't matter, right? So don't worry. Right. So the to calculate the Z score, this particular formula is given, right? So this particular formula is going to use to find what? In part A, it says, write down the formula that should be entered in cell F3 to calculate Kamal's Z score. So we are going to create Kamal's Z score. Right, and they say SD values are required for each subject are given in cell C44, D44, and E44, respectively. So per subject SD value එක subjects 3ට දීලා තියෙන්නේ මේ cells වල, right? So we are going to calculate the Kamal's Z score. So Kamal's Z score regarding which subject that they are saying? Subject 1. Kamal's Z score for subject 1. So that means they are asking us to create this particular value for Kamal. So how it's going to happen? It says student marks for the subject. So student marks for the subject is right over here. Subject 1. So this is student marks for the subject. And you should subtract what? Average marks for the subject. So average marks for the subject, we saw it, it is there at the below. This is average marks for the subject, right? So that means your formula is going to be what? C3 minus C43, right? So it's going to be equal C3 minus C43, and that should be in brackets because this has brackets. And we are going to divide it by the SD value. Now, when it comes to the SD value, it's going to be the SD value of subject 1. Now that you should be very careful. So SD value for subject 1 is just after the average of subject. So which gives you C44. So this is going to be divided by C44. This is going to be your answer. So let's cross check. Yeah, it says, dollar marks are there. I'll tell you why dollar marks are going to come. We are just formulating it, right? And it says, the note is important. Note that this formula is to be copied to calculate Z score for subject 1 of all other students too. Now, when you are doing that, now Kamal has marks for the subject right over here, and Raju got marks right over here, and Ralph got marks right over here, and Krishna got marks right over here. So according to the student, subject 1 marks are going to change. But what happens to the average of the subject? For everyone, for every student, average mark is not going to change. It is a constant, as well as the SD value is a constant. So that means C43 should be a constant. So that means we should write it like what? Either $C $43, or since we are copying it down inside a column, so it's the number that is going to change, or else C $43. Any one of the way we are going to refer this. So the very same way we are going to refer this, either $C $44, so no one is going to change, or else C $44, right? So that is the reason why they have showed the dollar signs in your answer, because it is about to copy, right? So your answer is going to change. How? They includes the dollar marks. So it's going to be, the correct answer is going to be either $C I'm sorry, not C3 is not going to change because it is the subject, minus $C $43 divided by $C $44, and you can have some more variations. We are going to check it from here. So any formula in this manner in the first column of this table is going to give you 2 marks. People, is that clear? Let me have the confirmation. Okay, how about others? Right, okay. All right, so have your 2 marks. So like you are not going to, yeah. So like when you are like when it comes to the third answer, it's dollar mark is only for C, not to the 3. C3 ලියනකොට dollar mark එක 3 ගාව තිබ්බොත් උත්තරේ වර්ධිනවා. C43 and C44, you can have all the dollar marks, but not to the C3. It's better you keep C3 alone and go with the absolute cell reference with the A part. Right. Okay. So I'm carrying the session until 2:45 since we have started like 15 minutes later. So I hope you will stay since it is the last day. Right. Okay. So we are moving forward quickly, and it says B. If this formula is copied to the cell range F4 to F42, write down the formula that will appear in cell F42, which shows Kant's Z score for subject 1. Now, cell 42, F42 is over here. And this is the cell that they are talking about. So, over here we had what? Equals C3 minus, yeah, I'm going to go $C, $42 divide by $C, $43. So that means over here, right now, we are in the third row, right? This is the third row. And then we are going to go to the 42nd row, right? So in third row, if it represents 3, when it comes to the 42, it's going to represent 42. මොකද එකම විදිහට එයා change වෙන්නේ. එකම number එකක් තියෙන නිසා. මෙතන numbers වෙනස් වුණා නම් D5 වුණා නම් අපිට ගණන් කරලා ගන්න වෙනවා නේද? 42ක් එකතු කරගෙන එන්න වෙනවා. Right? But here they have made it easy. So C3 will become C42 minus others will not change. So $C, $42 divide by $C, $43. Right? So that is going to be your answer for the next question. So that is why they have shown in here in part B, it's C42 minus $C, $43 divided by $C, $44. You can write in the other two alternative methods as well, right? So which gives you 1 mark for the B part. Right, so moving forward, the fourth one, yeah, they're asking a formula for I3 to compute final Z score for Kamal using only count and sum. So in the question, they said to calculate the final Z score, they have this formula. So the formula is like total of the subjects that they are facing is going to divide by number of subjects that they are going to face, right? So it says final Z score of a student is average in the average of the 3 Z scores for the subject. Write down the formula to calculate the final Z score. So it says final Z score of a student is the average of the 3 Z scores for the subjects. So they are asking us to write it using count and sum. So to find the average of 3 Z score for the subject. So what are the 3 Z scores? These are the 3 Z scores for the subjects. Right? So the final Z score is made out of an average of these 3 things. So to create the average, we need to total these things and divide it by 3. Now, since they are asking us to do it using the count and sum, so we are going to say sum F3 to H3, right? And divide, they are going to ask the number of subjects, so we can give the same range. So it will calculate the number of cells which contains the value. So be very careful to count three cells which has the values තියෙන cells තුනක් count කරන්න නැත්නම් count එක 3 කියලා එන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයා subject 1 subject 2 subject 3 count කරොත් count එක 3යි කියලා එන්නේ නැහැ. Right? So the answer is going to be, the range is F3 to H3. I'm writing is so equals sum F3 to H3 divide by count. Again, you can give the same range. If you write just 3, your answer is going to be wrong because they ask you to write it using the count and sum. Right? So this is the way you are going to answer it. So let's cross check the one. Yeah. So it says sum F3 colon H3, count F3 colon H3. Right? So alternative way is given at the right side. So this is the way it's going to go. Right? Yeah. So they said do not give marks for any other complicated long formulas because there are many ways of creating the average, right? So they are asking you to just using count and sum. You have to do that. Final one is easy. Formula for 144 to print highest Z score. So they are asking in the question, assume the student Z score values for the 3 subjects are the final Z score for all students have been calculated. Write down a formula that should be entered in cell I44, not 144 actually, it's I44 to find the highest final Z score in the form of equal function to cell 3, cell 4. So cell I44 is right over here. So this is going to take the maximum value out of this range, cell range. So it's easy. We can say equal max, equal max. Cell range is I3, right? Yeah, I3. So I3 colon I42. That's going to give you the maximum value. So that is why the answer is gone on this manner. So 2 marks for that. Yeah, so that will sum up the Excel question. So please calculate how many after 10. So I'm going to move to the 6th question little faster. I hope you can catch it up, right? So this is regarding the SDLC, System Development Life Cycle, right? So anyone who has done the 6th question? All right. Okay, in the 6th question, they are asking you to like fill the A to D, A to E labels using the given values in the brackets. So it is the stages of SDLC and activity they are asking. So identification of the requirements. So that is the first stage. So we are having the interviews. So A is going to bound with S, right? And B, design an interface. Design an interface is happening, designing the solution. So B is going to go with Q. And writing the computer programs, that is the coding of the solution. So C is going to go with P. And under the testing and debugging, we can have a test called integration testing. Right, so we got R over there. And for E, adding new features to the system. So when you are adding new features to the system, that means system has already made, then that goes with the maintenance part. That is the T. So S for A, Q for B, and P for C, R for D, and T for E. Right? So that's going to be the answer. So here it goes. S for A, Q for B, P for C, R for D, and T for E. So if 4 to 5 are correct, it's 2 marks. 1 to 3 are correct, it's only 1 mark. Yes, so the second part is asking about the bookshop, which operates these kind of things. So they are asking for the input, process, and output. I'm going to mark the input in blue line, right? So inputs are going to be like this. The bookshop in your school operates with a computer-based information system. When a student goes to buy a stationery, the clerk enters the item code. Item code is going to be an input, and the quantity of each item is going to be an input the student wants to buy. And the system, the processes are going to be on green color. The system then calculate the total cost. It's going to be a process for each item and the total bill value, and calculating total bill value is another process. And when it comes to the outputs, the system display the final bill. It's going to be an output on the screen and prints it. So print out is going to be an output. So those are the inputs and outputs that you can capture. So they are asking, using the above scenario, answer the following questions. Write down one input, one process, and one output. So you can go, there are two things for you. And so for A, item code, quantity, those are the inputs. 1 mark is given to one of those. Right? And computing or calculating the total cost of each item and total bill value. Right? One, you are given 2 marks for that. For C, it's the total cost, total bill value, final bill. Right? So C, it is the 1 mark again. Right? It's better you say display total cost. Right? Oh, no, display is not enough. Yeah, displays do not need, just total cost is enough. Right? Yeah, so that is how the marks are gone for the second part. So in the third part, it says identify the correct form of the given label. Identify the correct term for the given label. List P to T for each of the following. Right? Labeled A to D, write down the scenario label and match the term label. So this is again regarding the SDLC. So A is saying Sunil is developing a library management system and told the teacher that she will not be able to use any part of the system until entire system is fully developed. Now this actually goes with the waterfall model, right? Like when it comes to the waterfall model, when everything is done, the client won't be able to see that. So in this case, it's the teacher who is going to be the client and Sunil is going to be the developer. So if he's using the waterfall model, teacher won't be see the final output until the fully development is done. So it's T for A. And B, it says after completion of small information system for the school canteen, Asma decide to stop the existing system and operates a new system. Stopping the existing system at once and starting the new one from that point onwards is saying about the direct deployment. So B, it's going to be P. After monitoring new student information system initially introduced to grade 6 classes, the principal plans to introduce the system to the other classes of the school. So initially it was introduced to the grade 6, then it has been monitored, then it is going to apply to the other classes. So grade 6 is going to be the pilot project or the pilot place that is testing the system for the deployment. So this is talking about pilot deployment. So C is going to be S. And for D, the initial system was developed with 2 inputs, screens and 1 report. Based on the user feedback, 2 more input screens and report were added to the system More features are to be added based on the further user feedbacks. Now, in the marking scheme, they have gone it with the pace deployment, but I am not very much okay with that, right? මේකට මේගොල්ලෝ අරන් තියෙන්නේ are even iterative software development can be taken, right? But since it is gone with the marking scheme, you have to go with the R. So the solutions are going to be T for A, P for B, S for C, and R for D, right? So 2 marks if all are correct, or 3 is correct, and 1 mark if 1 or 2 are correct. Yeah. So people, the time is like 9 to 10, 10 to 9, I'm sorry. Yeah, like can you stay until I'm done with the paper, or I can do the recording from here onwards, and I can put the video for you to see, like how's the situation. If you can stay, I can stay, no worries. Yeah, how about the others? Can everyone stay? Like if the majority can stay, if someone needs to leave, just leave, then you can refer the video, and people, it's going to be the last day, and thank you very much for being with me if you are leaving early, right? It's better we could if we could meet here and talk, but this is the way we are going to say goodbye. It's not goodbyes actually, right? If you are going to do the A levels, we are going to meet again if you really choose me, right? Okay, so since a lot of people can stay, I'm going to continue, right? So let me put a message to my A-level class that I'm going to start it a little lately. So just a second, people. Right. So yeah, moving forward, it is asking list 2 benefits of the computer-based information system over a manual information system, which is very easy, right? So we can have many benefits. Let's go by the marking scheme. So it says speed, efficiency, doing many tasks simultaneously. Now all those things are one similar thing, right? Speed and efficiency කියලා දෙකක් ලියලා තිබ්බොත් ලකුණු හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ දෙකකට, right? ඒකයි speed, efficiency, doing many tasks simultaneously කියන එක එකට ලියලා තියෙන්නේ. So if you write speed, it's better you go with another option, not with the efficiency or not with doing many tasks simultaneously, right? So speed, accuracy, availability, easy for people, simultaneous used by multiple users, that's a different one. Quick storage and retrieval, those kind of things can be taken, right? So 2 marks is given for any 2 of these answers, right? If you got any alternatives, let me know, right? So that is the way that you are going to score for the 4th part or the last part of the 6th question. Right, people, is it clear? Let me have the confirmation. That's the end of the 6th question. Right, okay. Right, great. So moving to the 7th one. So 7th question is regarding the programming. Now that's actually something easy, right? So it says, consider the following array. A contain 5 integer values. Write an output of the following pseudocode when it is executed on the above array A, right? So it is asking the output, right? So we only need to figure out the output, but to do that, we need the hand tracing, right? So we are going to do the hand tracing. So it is saying it's begin, and it says value equals A0, right? So we are going to have a column called value, where I'm going to give A0. Now A0 means this. So when we are referring A0, it gives the value 80, right? So the value is going to be 80. And k equals 1. Here comes another variable, so another column. And it says while k less than or equal 4, k is less than or equal 4, it is less than or equal 4, so it is true. And it is coming to the if straight away. So this is correct for the first iteration. And if is asking AK, now AK means A1 for this moment. A1 means 100. So that means here they are like checking whether 100 is less than value. Value is 80. Value is right over here. So this is this true? No, it is not going to be true for the first time. So if we'll directly jump to the end if, not going to the other side, then k equals k plus 1 will execute. So 1 will become 2. Since we are at the end while, we are going again up and check whether the while condition is true. So it is asking k is less than or equal 4. Yes, still it is less than or equal 4. So the second iteration happens. And if is asking here AK, now K is 2. So A2 that they are going to choose right over here in AK. So A2 means 70. So now 70 will be compared with the value. Value is still 80. So 80 is there. So now this is true for the second time. So it goes in and it says assign AK to the value. So value will be 70 hereafter, right? So 70 is going to be the value, then and if happens, then k equals k plus 1 will happen. So k equal k plus 1 is going to be 3. So we are at the end of the while, again goes and check the condition. Always remember that when you are like on the line before the end while, you have to go up and check the condition. So k is less than or equal 4. K is 3 still, so it is correct still. So going forward, if AK, now AK means A3. A3 means 65. Now this becomes 65 and value is also changed. This is 65, now value is 70. Now 65 is less than 70. Now that is correct again. So it goes down again. It says AK assigns to value. So instead of 70, it's going to take 65. And if happens, then k equals k plus 1 will happen. So k will become 4 and goes up again. Still, while k, it is not less than 4, but it is equal to 4. So we are come in again, and here AK, now A4 is 95. Now here they are checking whether 95 is less than value is 65 now. So it is not true. That means it will straight away jump to the end if, and k will be increased. So 4 will become 5. Goes up again since we are at the last line of the end, and check now the condition become false. So it comes to the end while and display the value. Value means what? It is 65. So your final output is 65. So the answer for this particular A is going to be 65, just 65, right? Let's check the answer. Yeah, it is 65. People, did you got that? Right, great. So be careful when you are hand tracing. when you do it slow and steady, you can take the answer, right? Make a කරනකොට හොඳට වෙලාව අරන් කරන්න, right? So for the B part, identify and write down the correct statement for P, Q, and R in the flowchart on the right, which is drawn using the above pseudocode. So it's the same pseudocode that we are going to use over here. I'm going to write this, I'm going to erase this markings on the pseudocode, otherwise we won't be able to see it properly. So here, so it starts, so begin is mapped, value is A0, this is mapped, K equals 1, so this is mapped. Then the first condition, and it says, is K less than or equal 4? Even though it is not very much clear, it is a thing that they are saying. So while is mapped. And on the years part, that means when while is years, it is giving us another condition. So definitely it's going to be the if condition, right? So you can ask here, you can keep it here. So ask it in the question form. We are like filling a flow chart. So this is going to be is AK less than value, and a question mark should be there, right? ඔක මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ අපි question එකක් විදිහට තමයි ඒක අහන්නේ, right? So it should be like that. So then if it is yes, value equals AK, so this is mapped as well. We are not mapping endif because endif indicates by the flow, and when the selection is done, it is moving to a process, which is the process of this K equals K plus 1. So this is going to be K equals K plus 1, and then it iterates. Once the iteration is done, they are asking for an output. So it is this particular output. So you can write it just like that. So display valid is going to be there. So then it ends. Right, so people, P is the condition, Q is K equals K plus 1, R is display value. So that's going to give you 3 marks to figure in that out. මම කරානම් ඇත්තටම මම 3 marks දෙන්නේ value එක අරගත්තට. මේක බලාගෙන match කරන්න තියෙන්නේ. So I'm going to give 2 marks for this, but it is lucky. Right, in the C part, they are asking about redraw the array A and its content after the following assignments are carried out on the array A. So it is easy. A1 is assigned with 45, A2 is 88, and A4 is 72. So, which is easy, right? So earlier it is 80, 100, 70, 65, 95. So it's 80, 100, 70, 65, 95. This is the array before. So these are A0, A1, A2, A3, and A4. So now what they are asking, A1 is 45. So you just change the value, 45. A2 is 88. Change the value, 88. A4 is 72. Change the value into 72. So this is going to be your array, right? So yeah, this is the way you are going to use that. So it's better you shows the index as well, A0, A1, A2, A3, and A4, right? So if everything is correct, you are going to take 2 marks, which is 4 to 5 corrections, which is 1 to 3. It's going to be only 1 mark. Okay, people, moving to the very last question of the session and of the class, officially. Right, so it says a triangle with all 3 sides of equal length is called an equilateral triangle, right? Samapada trikonaya, a triangle with 2 sides of equal length is called I'm sorry, isosceles. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it is correct, Danidu. It is correct. That should be the way. Danidu අහන්න මේ උඩින් ඩිස්ප්ලේ කරාට කමක් නැද්ද කියලා arrays ටික array k value ටික ඒගොල්ලෝ දීලා තියෙන ඒ format එකෙන් it's better you go with that format. But I have written the index at the below because මම මේ values ටික match කරගත්ත නිසා. So හොඳම විදිහ තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ කියලා තියෙන විදිහට යන එක. ඒ කියන්නේ indexes ටික උඩින් values ටික යටින්. Right? Okay. So moving to the this question. Yeah. So yeah, how we are going to pronounce this? Isosceles. Yeah, I'll pronounce it like that. Isosceles. So equilateral, isosceles, and Slane's triangle. Oh, samapada, samadvipada, vishamapada කියන එක තමයි එතනදී අපි කතා කරන්නේ. Right? So if all three sides are equal, so it's equilateral, and two sides are equal, samadvipada කියන්නේ isosceles triangle, and if all the sides are different from each other, so it's scalene, I don't know, scalene triangle, right? And the algorithm is written to determine, once the length of the sides are given, whether it is a what these new words, equilateral or isosceles or slane, right? So they read the sides, so those will be the inputs L1, L2, and L3. Now they are asking a question: is L1 is equals to L2, right? So that means if you take a triangle, if this is L1, this is L2, and this is L3, this is these two are equal. Then there is another condition where we have to fill that. And if it is years, it's going to display it's an equilateral triangle. So that means all three are equal. So then you can ask the question right over here. Since they're asking whether L1 is equals to L2, now this can be, there can be two ways that you can write it. Is L1 equals L3? That will be one of the questions. Or you can ask, is L2 equals L3? ඔය ප්‍රශ්න දෙකෙන් කැමති එකක් අහන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද මේ දෙන්න සමානයි කියලා ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. So L2 L3 ට සමානද L1 L3 ට සමානද කියලා අහන්න එකයි තියෙන්නේ. So when it happens, you can consider it as a equilateral, right? And if it not, that means only L1 and L2 is equal. And when we are asking the second question, it says no. So it is definitely going to be isosceles, right? Samadvipada trikonaya. So this one is going to go with display isosceles, right? And if the first condition is no, so nothing is equal, right? So L1 is not equals to L2. So then we can check whether L2 is equals to L3. If L2 is equal to L3 is years, then again it's going to be an isosceles. Then next samadvipada. And if it is not, then we can check whether L1 is equals to L3. Again it's going to be a isosceles. Samadvipada unama kamathi pada dekak samana wenna puluwan, right? So if it is yes, it's going to be an isosceles. And if it is not, then it is easy. The output is going to be display what you call the slates, SCELES, display slates, right? So that is going to be the R. So yeah, so it is for this. So the marking scheme shows is L2 equals L3, and they haven't given the other alternative. Is L1 equals L2, is L2 equals L3. No, you can have the other one as well. Is L1 equals L3, no problem for P. Displays isosceles triangle, displays scalene triangle. Spelling you are right? So those things should be here. So each one of that take 1 mark for you. So which gives you how many you can calculate how many out of 100. All right, people. So that's the end of the last question, and yeah, we are going to end the sessions that we had so far. Right. So people. දැන් ඔගොල්ලෝ විභාගයට යන කට්ටිය විදිහට මම මේ ටික සිංහලෙන් කියන්න. right මොකද මේක මට සිංහලෙන් කියන එක ලේසි. so ඔගොල්ලෝ විභාගයට යන්න දැන් හොඳටම ලෑස්ති. ඔගොල්ලෝ සෑහෙන questions ප්‍රමාණයක් සාකච්ඡා කරලා තියෙනවා. අපි papers අරගත්තොත් 10කට එහා පැත්තේ discuss කරා deeply. right so you are very okay to go to your exams, right? So don't worry about it, right? Have your guts and have the knowledge that you gain through here. ඔයගලන්ට දැන් තියෙන experience එක paper කරලා, right? So you are going to face just another IT paper, right? It's going to be something like this, right? So ඔයාගේ natural විදියෙන් එක කරන්න බය වෙන්න එපා. You will be having the very best of yours, right? So අපි ඇති වෙන්න රිහර්ස් කරා. මම හිතනවා ඔයගලන්ට ගොඩාක් දේවල් ක්ලියර් වෙන්න ඇති කියලා. and මම පුළුවන් තරම් උදව් කරන්න ඇති කියලා මම හිතනවා, right? And still if you got any help you need until the exam starts, I'll be here. Just call me or just WhatsApp me, right? So I will be here. And නේද අපිට හම්බෙලා goodbye කියන්න තිබ්බනම් සෑහෙන වටනවා, because you people are the first grade 11 students who are facing O-level exam, right? කලින් මම A-level class විතරයි කරේ, 10 and 11 මම කරේ නැහැ. So you people are going to be the very first grade 11 batch of mine, grade 11 batch of Star Labs, right? It's a milestone, පළවෙනි batch එක, right? So if we got a chance to meet again, let's meet, right? And yeah, thank you, Heshani. And yeah, the only thing, the best regard that you can give it to me, like do your exam in the best you can, right? So that's what teachers are expecting you to do. Every teacher is expecting you to do. So give your best shot, right? And yeah, don't worry, it's just an exam, right? So yeah, so I'm not saying goodbye. So you can find me for, if you are choosing ICT for A-level, if you really think that I'm a good teacher to have A-level with me. Yeah, so we will meet even though you are doing the ICT or not, right? ඉස්කෝලේදී පාරේදී නේද කොහෙදුණත් හම්බෙන්න පුළුවන්. So yeah, let's keep those memories. So give your best shot, people. I have the confidence on you, so you have the confidence on yourself and have the best out of you, right? Okay, so I'm saying thank you and I'm not saying goodbye. And do your best, right? Yeah, all the best. All the best. So I'm ending the session from here. We won't be meeting again in Saturday mornings.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, all the best. All the best. Keep it up, people. Keep it up. Right.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
so
much. And have a very nice weekend and have a very nice life, people.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much.